Thank you for signing in to the YouTube channel. We appreciate it. And once again, this is our WHTOOO network. And let us tell you what WHTOOO stands for those who do not know it. WHTOOO stands for We Have to Own Our Own Shit, but not in the typical form of shit. Our shit is spelled SHYT, which is an acronym that stands for S, scalability. We don't just want to start a business, we want to grow a business. H stands for honoring the ancestors whose shoulders we stand upon. Y is you are your brand. Someone is going to buy you before they buy any product or service you have. And lastly, T stands for tenacity, because being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. And with that being said, I'm sure this gentleman can speak to that wholeheartedly. You will be speaking to Dr. Rodney Fields, owner and founder of the Cylindrical Group. And he will be going into depth about some of his biggest wins, some of his failures, and what did he do that made him choose this industry sector. So with that being said, Doc, thank you for joining us. And how are you doing today?
Hey, well, thank you for having me. And I guess I'm doing as well as anybody else, anticipating this cold weather that's supposed to hit us, but we're all ready to go over here.
Well, see, look, I'm from Detroit, so that cold weather don't mean nothing to me. I might go out and start sunbathing after we get off the interview. So,
I know I'm from Wisconsin, but
oh, oh, well, you know, you know.
I do. But now that I'm down here, I respect their how can I say this? Their preparedness.
Exactly. So, or lack thereof.
Hey, I didn't say that.
Right, right. I did. I'll take the weight on it. So, if you could do the audience a favor and tell us what does the Cylindrical Group do, and
Okay.
what made you decide to get into that sector of business?
Okay, so Cylindrical Group, I started it in September of 2016. So I was a program director with the Centers for Disease Control for, I did various jobs with them for about 10 years. Started out in emergency management and then finished up as a program manager, GS14. So I was at work and I just decided it was time for me to do my own thing. You know, I'm retired military, retired Army warrant officer, had spent 23 years in the military. So I've always had a job, always been doing something. So I just decided in 2016 that it was time for me to go do something on my own. So I started up Cylindrical Group. And what Cylindrical Group is, we are a training and development company. So we do professional training. I 1099 facilitators so they can come in and teach whatever course that an organization wants to have taught. I vet the trainers, I vet the facilitators to ensure that they're subject matter experts in what they do. Myself, I have a leadership background, leadership and management background. So, long story short, I was inducted into the 100 Black men of South Metro. And while I was there, there was a gentleman who was inducted the same time I was inducted. And as he was being inducted, we were sitting down and we were just having this conversation about what it was that we had done. And I had just started Cylindrical Group. So he said, you know what? I need some training for my senior leaders. And I told him, I said, well, that's what I do. I do management and leadership training. And I did that personally myself. And he asked me if I could teach a block of instruction for him. So I agreed. He only needed me for 1 hour. And I told him, I said, well, really, I do a minimum of 2 hours if I'm going to go out. This traffic in Atlanta has got to be worth it. So I said, I do a minimum of 2 hours. I gave him my price. And he agreed on that. He said, well, I only need you for 1 hour. And he said, I probably don't need you for that long, 45 minutes at that. So I went ahead and agreed to do the training. We met down in College Park, Georgia, went down. He had his team there. I did the training, and he liked it so much that he asked me to come teach for him at Georgia Military College.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am. I had really stopped working and started my own company, but he made an offer. He said, you'll have the autonomy to teach the courses that you want to teach. You know, we need someone in the business area. And at the time, the Fairburn campus wasn't offering a 4-year program, and they needed to bring in doctoral professors to teach courses so they could, work on becoming a 4-year school. So I agreed, went in, started teaching business marketing, business management, and a few other courses. And I also taught dual enrollment for Georgia Military College. So that put me back in, I would say, the quasi workforce. I was still into the training. I'm doing the teaching. I'm an adjunct professor now. And I saw another opportunity for training that was with the state of Georgia. So I interviewed with the state of Georgia, and I did that for about 4 years, even while I was running my own company. I was the senior procurement trainer for the state of Georgia. So I'm doing adjunct professor, senior procurement trainer for the state of Georgia, and I'm running Cylindrical Group, taking various different contracts when they became available. So I'm doing all of this teaching and all of this training all at the same time. Long story short, when you start a business, sometimes you're not just focused on running your business. You may have to wear other hats at the same time. And this is what I did. I wore other hats all while I was working on developing Cylindrical Group. Now, the benefit to that was it was an opportunity for me to work out any kinks that I might have in my own company. So I had the autonomy when I taught with Georgia Military College to incorporate the training that I used in Cylindrical Group. So I would teach for my students, I would do exercises. And the exercises were the same exercises that I would use when I'm doing professional development training. Actually, when I interviewed for the state of Georgia, I went into the interview and I used one of my training exercises. And the hiring manager was so impressed that they hired me on the spot to come in and train for them. Wow. So, I mean, you really have to go out there and use all the tools in your toolbox when you say you're going out on your own.
So, with that being said, and you having a military background, and thank you for your service, by the way.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
What made you say when you were starting Cylindrical Group that leadership development and training was going to be an area where it was going to be profitable? Where did you see that gap that needed to be filled and made you pursue starting that particular business?
Well, it was really when I was in the military, and I'm so thankful that I served, because I went into the military at 17, did all of my college work while I was in the military, non-traditional student, completed my bachelor's degree, well, completed my associates, my bachelor's, my master's, and then my PhD when I after I had retired, but it was all through the military. And what that taught me was the discipline and the leadership and the management that I learned while I was in the military. And because of that, it was second nature to me. I mean, this is what I had done for 23 years. My focus was my undergrad degree, University of Maryland University College, is in management studies. So I had done this. I was doing this. I worked my way up from the enlisted ranks to become a warrant officer. So leadership was always key. One of the things that even now when I mentor young people, I tell them, I say the military is a good option because by the time I was 24 or 25, I was already managing a team of folks. And I mean, at the highest level of managing a team of folks. So you don't often get that as a civilian, but in the military, you do. And not only do you get it, but training comes along with it. So when you're in the military, you're constantly training. You're constantly in professional development courses. At every level, there's a professional development course that you go through. I mean, we're war fighters, but at the same time, the military does a really good job of training its personnel. So I just put two and two together. Once I decided to start Cylindrical Group, I said, well, hey, this is the same training that helped me get to where I am. So I'm just going to tweak it, add my sauce to it, and make it what it is as far as it being Cylindrical Group. And I came about that name in a funny way. I was going to call myself the Fields Group, which I was incorporated years ago as the Fields Group. But my daughter said, Dad, that's kind of boring. And she was at the time, she was only about maybe 8 or 9 years old. But she said, that's boring. You need a snazzy name. You need something that's kind of jazzy. So I just came up with Cylindrical. So, and that's how it came about. But the leadership, the management, it all came from the experience in the military and me just saying, hey, I can use what I've learned, and what better way to get started versus trying to reinvent the wheel.
Awesome. So as we know, being an entrepreneur comes with a lot of ups and downs. What was one of your biggest challenges or obstacles in maintaining since 2016? And you're coming up on a decade of your 10-year anniversary, a decade of being in business. So what hurdles did you have to overcome?
The first one is turning down all the noise. You have to shut out the noise. You read the articles, social media, you have all of these claims of most businesses fail in the first 2 or 3 years. And that's possible. I've had other business ventures that didn't do so well, and they ended in the first 2 or 3 years. But it's this one, when I bit down on it, I said, hey, I'm gonna stick it out. Regardless of the ups, the downs, I am just going to get through this. Every year when I reapply for my license, I look at those licenses and I say, wow, another year. So I've dispelled the myth of businesses ending in, the first 2 or 3 years. I've gone now coming up on a decade. So with that being said, I think it's just, you have to decide you're going to stick with it. You're going to have to, go with the ups, go with the downs. When they come, you sit back and you just wait it through. There's been times where I've not generated any income, and there's been times and there's been times when it's been okay. There's been times when it's been nice. So you have to accept that in business. You have challenges of generating resources to expand. But again, I go back to relying on, and I'd be remiss to say this, my faith has a lot to do with that. God is number one in my life. So without him, none of this would be possible. I wrote my first book, and it's called Rodney's God. And it's just a small stories of testimonies of things that have happened to me. So I combine my faith with everything that I've learned professionally, and I just walk in that. I walk in that faith. Whatever your faith is in your business, you to me, and again, this is my opinion, the two have to go hand in hand. So if you're not if you're not combining your faith, and not to say people can't be successful, but if you're combining your faith and you stick with it, I think you can be successful in anything you go and try to do.
Well, and the first part of that response ties into what we started off with as far as the acronym of owning your own shit, and that's the T, which stands for tenacity. And through
Mm-hmm.
your tenacity, you continue to persevere, which has led you to now over what's soon to be a decade of success. So that's phenomenal. So, what does the importance of the value of owning your own shit mean to you?
Uh, I don't have to jump on 75. I wake up in the morning and, and I say that jokingly, but there's work. You have to work. If you don't work, you don't eat. I mean, but you're doing it for yourself. So the thing is, when you work for someone else, you go in and you do whatever you're told, and you're disciplined, and sometimes you don't like it, but you do it. So you have to bring that same attitude to your own business. You have to wake up in the morning, you have to set yourself a schedule, you have to adhere to that schedule, you have to self discipline yourself. Taking it back to the military, the discipline I was taught in the military makes it easier to operate a business, because now I know if I don't do those things, no one else is going to do them for me. So, combination of being your own boss, dealing with your own challenges, resolving any issues that come up, they're your issues. So you have to be responsible for those. Again, and I say this over the discipline, the freedom. I don't have to get up and go down 75. I really don't. But there's times that I have to, and when I have to go out there and deal with that. But that is probably the benefit for me is I do my own thing.
And that's critical. And I try to let everyone know that you can't really put a price on your time and your freedom. I have three daughters that's home with me, and it's invaluable to be able to participate in their events without having to go and get permission. And so I
Right.
don't knock anyone who has to do a 9 to 5. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, that happened to ask for someone permission and someone to tell me no, that I can't participate in my daughter's lives or my daughter's events was a motivating factor where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I have to own my own shit, because I've
Yeah.
seen people say, well, I can't get off today, or, I'm not going to be able to make it. And I saw the heartache and heartbreak sometimes in their children's faces. And I was like, I don't want to have to provide that look or that emotional hurt with any of my children. But freedom, as you say, we're entrepreneurs, we eat what we kill. And freedom ain't free.
That's
It
right.
it comes with a price. And sometimes that price is, like you said, the inconsistency of income and cash flow. I've had months where I was like, man, look, I'm balling. I can keep this up. I'll be good. Then you had those droughts, as we like to say, it's like, ooh, like what we eating, ramen noodles again? So yeah, I totally get it. So with all of that being said, would you do anything differently from the time you started this entrepreneurial journey um, that where you are now?
Um, well, to your point, I never knock anybody that does a 9 to 5, because I've gotten to where I am in business because of a 9 to 5. But what I would say is doing it differently. I I think as you work your 9 to 5, don't be afraid to step out into your own business, and you can work those two together. Um, I just would say I probably would have started earlier. And I'm from the Midwest, so being from the Midwest, we hustle.
You got
So
that
I've
right.
been hustling, ever since. I remember one of the first businesses I had, I made wooden signs. I bought a router. I made furniture. I started building furniture. I've done all kinds of stuff. I mean, and you can't be ashamed to do the hard work when you're starting out in your own business. I've had a janitorial company. So um, if you have and I'm gonna use a little slang, if you got shame in your game and you want to be an entrepreneur, it's gonna be hard for you. But if you can go out there and realize that every major corporation has somebody that does something in that company for them, but when you're an entrepreneur, all of those jobs fall up under your hat. So
Correct.
you have a brick and mortar, you may have to clean the bathrooms in your brick and mortar. If you start a restaurant, you may have to bust the suds in your restaurant. So, whatever it is, you have to be willing to go and do it. But to answer your question directly, it would just be not be afraid to start sooner.
Do you have it, does the Cylindrical Group have any initiatives or anything going on now that you want to let the audience know about?
We do. We are working on a cerebral line of products that go hand in hand with education and training. Uh, we sell those products. We market those products. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag because I'm still, you know, tying up some loose ends, but you will soon see those. You can go to our website, and that's cylindricalgroup.com, and you'll see those products. Again, we're still in the development stages of getting enough product to meet customers' needs. So at this point, we started our sales and we quickly sold out. So now we're
Awesome.
restocked, but we're getting there.
Well, with all that being said, and I appreciate everything, tell my audience what would be the takeaway that you want the audience to have about yourself and about the Cylindrical Group. And you provided the website, and I want you to provide that again, how individuals can get in touch with you if they want to hire you or if they want to consider being interviewed and vetted to see if they can become a part of your organization. So I know I gave you a lot, but if you could provide one, the takeaway, what you want our audience to know about yourself and your journey in the Cylindrical Group, how they can contact you, and then how they can be a part on either side of the organization if they want to hire you guys or be a part of the organization.
Okay, number one, trust your faith. Number two, trust yourself. Number three, be ready to work hard. To contact me, Cylindrical Group's number is 678-977-9961, and you can leave a message and I'll get back with you. My website is cylindricalgroup.com. Again, you will see the products out there. We are right now, we are sold out, but we're restocking. So as soon as we have a restock of those products, we'll start releasing those again. And I think I answered all your questions.
Oh,
Just
you certainly
have,
did.
have faith. That's what you have to do.
You certainly did.
Oh,
And go
I
ahead.
have one more. Someone told me this. Someone told me this, and I adhered to it. It said you can. It's hard to be broke. It's hard to work for someone else, and it's hard to work for yourself. You have to decide which hard you want to choose.
That is a mic drop right there. And I waited to the end of the interview because I just came to my thought. I didn't let the audience know the reason this brother is so sharp, besides all the other educational endeavors. We forgot to mention that he is a member of the world's greatest fraternity, that would be Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And so, with that being said, good Nuke, good Dr. Nuke, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you having you. And I've been challenged to a call to action by people saying, hey man, you're not telling anybody to like and subscribe. So please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to be interviewed for our channel, send me a note to info@whtoos.com, and that's WHTOOOS.com. Look forward to seeing you guys again. Once again, thank the eloquent Dr. Rodney Fields, and see you on the next one. Take care.
All right, brother. Thank you.